Hello, my dear friends. This is the seventh lecture of the topic computer network. In the previous six lectures, we have studied so many topics, and in this lecture, we will study about the protocols. So, now starting with the first slide, that what is protocol? First of all, in a very simple sentence, you should know that protocol is a set of rules. Set of rules in any conduct, any form, any topic is known as the protocol. While talking with the seniors, the way we talk to them, this is also a sort of protocols. When we are talking to some our kids, this is also a sort of protocol. When we are behaving in a particular company or in our office, in our home, so the rules we are all following in all the activity is called the protocol. Similarly, when we are talking about the networks, then the transmission of the data from one network in another network also follows some sort of protocol. So, in short, you can say that the protocol means a set of rules that govern a network, and a protocol provides a format of the message and the rules through which two or more machines must follow in order to exchange their message. For example, you can consider that two people wants to communicate with each other, wants to transfer message from one person to another, and one knows another language A, and the other people know another language, that language is B, and there is no any common language between these two people. Then how they will communicate? So they will communicate by using the third language that is common to all, that is English. So if they will follow rules, the simple protocols, then there is no problem will be there when they were transferring the data from one person to another. Now we have some features of the protocol. So a protocol specifies what is communicated and how. Means a protocol is a deciding factor to the message also, that what is to be communicated and what is the way of the communication or the medium of the communication. In the similar way, the protocol will also help in setting up a channel of the communication, or in order to creating and establishing a connection between the sender and the receiver. So with the help of the protocol, a connection can also be established. So there are multiple protocols are there in the network. The name of the few protocols are the given, that is TCP, transmission control protocol, IP, internet protocol, FTP, file transfer protocol, point to point protocol, that is known as P, SMTP, simple mail transfer protocol, POP3, that is post office protocol third, and the telnet, that is remote login. So in the coming slide, we will be studying one by one about each and every protocol. So now starting with the very first protocol, that is TCP. So the full form of the TCP is the transmission control protocol, and it comes in the combination with the IP, that is internet protocol. So TCP is an important part of the TCP IP protocols, and TCP ensures a reliable communications and use ports to deliver packets. It is a connection oriented protocol. TCP also fragments and reassembled message. Means when the packet is delivered from the sender to receiver and it is not delivered in a sequential order, it is collected at the receiver end, and then the TCP rearrange them in a sequential order. So there must be and handshaking technology and the process before the information is sent. A handshake process means establishing a direct connection between the sender and the receiver with a start signal, acknowledgement signal, and the stop signal also. So it is a connection oriented protocol, means when the message is sent to the receiver, there is a complete chance that the message will reach safely, and acknowledgement will be sent by the receiver to the sender, and this is a type of information that the message is received by the receiver in a proper manner. So this is the features of the TCP. Now moving forward, we have a next protocol, that is IP. So IP stands for the Internet Protocol, and it presents in the Internet layer of the Internet Protocol suites, and it is responsible for delivering packets from the source host to the destination host. It is a connection-less protocols. Means it is responsible for providing address of each computer, and IP also help in performing routing. So as I had told you earlier, the packets in the IP protocol are moved randomly from source to the destinations, and in the destinations computer it is ordered sequentially. Now moving forward, that is the FTP protocol. So FTP protocol is a protocol which helps in transforming and transmitting and sharing of the files from one place to another, means from the sender to the receiver. So it transmits data from the one end to the other end, and FTP is a standard for the exchange of the files across the internet. So there may be different types of files, and the file of any type can be transferred with the help of the FTP, and the FTP offers many advantages. So I am going to tell you about the few advantages. The first advantage is that it is very helpful to transfer file from one network in an organization to another. It is an effective way to get a geographical dispersed group and to cooperate on a project. It is a potent and popular way to share information over the internet, and FTP is not a name of the protocol, it is also the name of the program or command. So the objective of this protocol is like that FTP promotes sharing of the files. It encourages indirect or implicit via program use of remote computers, means our data is on the server side and we are using on our personal computer set with the help of the FTP. So with the help of FTP, the data transfer is reliable and the efficient. So this is about the FTP. And the FTP protocols use the internet's TCP IP protocol to enable data transfer. And as I told you earlier, and it is also there, that FTP is the most commonly used to download a file from a server using the internet or to upload a file to the server. So if there are any problem in file sharing, means two files may have different type of data representation or the text representation, so these type of problems may also be solved by the FTP protocol or the file transfer protocol. So the next protocol is the point-to-point protocol. So this protocol is mainly used on the data link protocol, and this protocol establishes direct connections between two nodes, and in this type of protocol the communication take places through high speed modems, and this type of technology uses telephone dial-up lines to the internet, and the internet service providers may provide you with a PPP connections. And when you are using such kind of protocol, the are requested forward to the internet server and then forward responses back to you. So this is a type of protocol in which you need to install PPP drivers assigned by the internet to the computer when you are using PPP protocol or point-to-point protocol. So the main features of the point-to-point protocols are that the PPP is used to establishing a link between two devices. It is used for maintaining this established link also. PPP can be used to configuring this link, means this link means the link between the sender and the receiver. Terminating this link after the transmission or the transfer means when the data is transmitted from the sender and the receiver, so there is no any need of the link, so the link can be terminated by the PPP protocol. It also provides error detections, means if any packet lost between the sender and the receiver, PPP helps in order to add detection of it. It also supports multiple protocols, and it also defines that how two devices can authenticate each other. So now there are two mailing protocols. The first one is simple mail transfer protocol. So before starting with the simple mail transfer protocol and post office protocol, let us discuss about the email technology that what we are using. We have simply two types of email technology. The first one is the web based email and the second one is the application based email. The most popular examples of these two type of emails are the Gmail for the web mail and the MS Outlook for the application based protocols, so application based email services. So as we are all using Gmail or any other type of email, so what we can do, we can have just the login ID and password, and from any of the device, any laptop, any phone, we have to just enter the login ID and the password, and we will be able to just read the email and the response through the email and whatever we wanted to do with the email IDs. And the next is the application based email. So with this type of email, we are not able to access the email from any of the system. There is a one dedicated system on which MS Outlook is installed, and we are using that particular email from a specific system only. So the data can be sent from that system and accessed from that system. It means the MS Outlook should be configured according to your email ID at a particular system. So when we are using application based email technology, it is important that all the emails can be downloaded on the systems, and when a person wants to read or write the email, he or she can use it from the own system. So after the description of these two types of email, it is now easier to understand the working of the SMTP and the POP protocol. So now starting with the SMTP. So SMTP protocol is used for the web based email services, where our email is stored on the server and can be accessed from any system with the help of SMTP protocol. Means you can simply say that SMTP is used for sending email messages to other networks, and SMTP does not create messages, means it helps in forwarding messages between the server and the client. Now the next is the POP. In the POP, what can we do that it also, with the help of POP, it is possible for the users to download their received email onto their local computer, and so that they can read them even they are not connected to the internet, means offline reading. So this is the type of protocol which is used with the application based email services, that is POP. The next is Telnet or the remote login. So first of all, you should know about the term remote login. So a remote login is a network application that permits a user sitting at a different location to work on a specific program on an other computer. Means you are sitting on any other computer and working on any other computer with the help of remote login. So the work access to the program is guaranteed by login concept, wherein user having authorized login ID and password to work on that program are allowed access. So just for the remote login, there are two basic programs, that is Telnet and SSH, and here we are discussing about the Telnet. So in short, what is Telnet? Telnet is a remote login. With help of the Telnet, you are able to handle this and other system while sitting on our own system, and just from this you should have a proper login ID and password through which you can access the other system. So now how the telnet works. So first of all, the telnet, with the help of the telnet, a user is logged into the local system and invokes a telnet programs. Means for using any type of application, what you should do, you will have to sit on your computer system and just open a application. Similarly, you will have to open the telnet system, and then the telnet client is started on the local machine, and then the client established a TCP connection with the telnet server on the destination system. Means on that system on which the data is stored or you want to access the system. Means there are two parts of the telnet. First one is the client and the second is the server. The server should be installed on the system to which you want to access from the computer, and the telnet client will be installed on your particular system. So when the connection is established, the client program accept the characters from the keyboard fed by the user and process one character at the time at the telnet server. So with the help of the telnet you can access another system, and when your work has been completed you can simply log off or the log out from the system. So this is all about the protocol. Today you have a summary of all of the protocols. For example, TCP IP protocol, FTP protocol, point-to-point protocol, SMTP protocol, and post office protocol, and the last but not least, that is telnet or the remote login. Thank you for this session.